Hello, everyone. My name is Carrie Slade. I'm the Assistant Academic Director of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Institute and the host of this program. So I'm so glad everyone was able to join us. I'm really excited to hear from our alumni. These are alumni from a specific program in Innovation Management and Entrepreneurship Master's degree. So there's many different directions you can go with this career, and we are excited to hear about the different aspects you might want to explore. All right, I'm going to make a couple of announcements and talk for a second about what's going on at the IEI, and then we'll start with our questions for the panelists. So let me share my screen briefly. All right, so hopefully you are looking at my screen now. Again, welcome everyone. My name is Carrie Slade. I'm the Assistant Academic Director of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Institute, as well as an Assistant Professor in the Department of Strategic Management. Welcome to our Careers and Innovation panel. We should have 4 panelists here. Hopefully each one of them was able to make it. Cecilia Sibia, the Medical Director at Rhythm Pharmaceuticals. Gina Bobadilla, Project Manager for the Middle Americas region at Teleperformance in Colombia. Desang Abdeen, Manager at Consulting at KPMG. And Nicholas Rematus, Category Analyst, Seasonal and Niche Equipment at Clark Associates. What I'd like to do first is tell you a little bit about the program. These are all alumni of this Innovation Management and Entrepreneurship Master's degree. It's designed for working professionals. It's 10 classes. If you go full-time, you can do it in as quickly as a year. But if you want to do it over the maximum of 5 years, you can do that and just take classes whenever they're convenient for you. They're usually in the evenings, made for working professionals. Again, we usually offer it in person or online. Of course, when we go back in person, we'll let everyone know, but for right now, everything is online. There's 3 concentrations: innovation strategy, entrepreneurship, and technology and innovation management. And we see innovation and entrepreneurship as related because they really need the same types of ways of thinking. You have to think in divergent ways. You have to problem solve, sometimes with few resources. So that's why we put these 2 categories together. If you're not sure about the master's degree and perhaps want to try just 3 classes, you can get a certificate in entrepreneurship, innovation strategy, or healthcare innovation. So if you want any information about this program, of course, contact me whenever you want, or you can scan that QR code down at the bottom. I just wanted to highlight for you also some of our courses and faculty. We have an amazing slate of faculty, and these are just some of them that I picked out. Ellen Weber, the Executive Director of Mid-Atlantic Diamond Ventures. She's consistently listed as one of the top 100 most powerful or connected people in Philadelphia, and she's awesome to work with. Leisha Davis, founder of Vanguard's Innovation Studio, who's now a consultant and an angel investor. Michelle Histan, the Director of Innovation for Independence Blue Cross. Robert Williams, former Senior Manager of Technology Programs at Boeing, and Sri Seshadri, the former Global R&D Director for Arkema. And you can see the list of the courses here. I teach Innovation Intelligence, Creativity Unleashed. Michelle teaches, Leisha teaches Open Alliances, Rob teaches Global Innovation Strategy. So we've got a great team here ready to really teach you how to be innovative and start your own business if that's something you're interested in. Okay, and if that weren't enough, we have these fabulous alumni in the innovation space here with us today. And we also have great entrepreneur alumni as well. And if you ever watch Shark Tank, you'll want to tune in this Friday at 8 p.m. because our alumni, Jared Cannon, is going to be on there pitching his idea. We don't know how he did yet, but we are going to find out on Friday. So I'm really excited for that. If you're interested in more of our events, we have an Innovating for Inclusion event coming up in May. So keep your eyes out for an email about that. And if you're interested in getting involved with us in any way, you can be a mentor, you can be a reviewer for business plan competition submissions, you can be a guest speaker. There's lots of different ways to get involved with us. If you're interested, we would love to have corporate sponsors as well. So please reach out to us or scan this code. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to the panel, but before I do, I want to say some thank yous. First of all, I want to announce that we have our graduate admissions representative, Mile, here. She'll be at a table called Prospective Students. So when we start the networking, the questions around like 12:45 maybe, she will be there. So if any of you are interested in the program, you can go see Mile. I want to thank Erin McShay for communicating and sending out the emails about this event and setting up the Eventbrite, And I want to thank Evan Murphy for running the event, as well as Lindsay Clark for supporting him. So thank you so much. Okay, let's turn it over to our panelists. Let's get them on the stage. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And we will let them introduce themselves and tell us about their exciting careers. So Evan, if you could bring, I think the 3 or 4 panelists to the stage, that'd be great.
If the panelists could just turn their camera and microphone on, they should come straight to the stage. And I'll bring Nick to the stage now too.
Great. Hi, Gina. Hi, Nick.
Hello.
And today, we're going to try to, as I said, we're going to try to go to about 12:45. Then each of the panelists will be at a table. So if you have specific questions for them, you want to ask them about their company, their career path, their work, you can go ahead and do that after the main session. All right, great. Desang, are you with us? Can you turn on your camera? There she is. Great. Perfect. Okay, good. Awesome. All right. Good job figuring that out on the first time. All right. Wonderful. Well, I'd love to give each of you a chance just to tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and about your work. You know, how did you come to this? Where did you grow up? What's your background like? How did you decide to, you know, work for this company? And what kind of work do you do? So let's start with Gina. Let's do Gina, Nick, and then Desang. Go ahead, Gina.
Okay, so hi everyone, thank you for having me here. My name is Gina Bobadilla, I'm from Colombia. I have a degree in industrial engineering and another one in business administration. And in 2019, I got a Fulbright scholarship that allowed me to go to the States and complete my master's with the IME program in Temple and in Philadelphia. Currently, I work as a project manager at Teleperformance here in Colombia. And yeah, I think that's kind of like the summary of my presentation.
Okay, and what does Teleperformance do, Gina? Just tell us about the company so we know the industry.
So they work in the BPO industry, mostly implementing contact center solutions for companies in the States, back in Latin American countries.
Okay, so what's BPO? Call centers?
Yeah, it could include a lot of things, but basically call centers, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, great, Nick.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicholas Rematus. I graduated from MS Innovation and Entrepreneurship about a year and a half ago, I think. I grew up, I'm a third culture kid. I don't know if anybody knows the term, but I grew up around the world. I was born in South Africa. I lived in 7 different countries. I came to the US to, pursue education. I did my undergrad at Penn State, and then spent a couple of years in New York at the super innovative agencies, advertising agencies, and then kind of had this itch, in the back of my head that I want to be more innovative, be part of building something. And so I found the master's at Temple, but I've grown up in a bunch of different innovative places around the world and met so many people that I kind of want to be a part of creation. I currently am a category analyst at Clark Associates, which is in the B2B food service and equipment and supply space. So I don't know if any of you know the Webtron store or the restaurant store. Basically, we're like number one when it comes to that B2B restaurant equipment. And so I manage the concessions and specialty equipment category. I don't know, Carrie, if you want me to go into now a little bit about what we do, or if that's the next question. But that's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, you can stop there. We can do that in the next question.
All right.
Desang, go ahead.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. My name is Desang Abdeen. I'm from the Caribbean originally, moved to the US when I was in Texas. At that point, when I was finishing up high school, I realized I had a love of both business and art. And I point that out because that is an important part of what led me to the IME program. So in college, I decided to study business and started my career in accounting, realized it was a little too left brain, a little too just the numbers, and missed the creative side of the house and wanted to work my way back. So then as a creative outlet, I just started blogging, and it was on topics that I enjoyed at the time around, management, innovation, and creativity. And it was at that point where I was looking at a graduate program, and I wanted something that, made sense for me based on these interests, which is what led me to the IME program. So I've been working at KPMG, and if you're not familiar, that's one of the big four accounting firms and professional services firm. So I focus specifically on on consulting these days. So, and similar to Gina, I also focus on product management as well. So a lot of my projects are around large digital transformation projects, and ultimately, helping clients find new ways to support and provide additional services to customers, and also in this digital age, leveraging technology and modern technology and apps and some of these like innovative tools. So it's really exciting, and we can talk a little bit more about that throughout this time today.
Great, thank you. And I think Cecilia is here. Cecilia, do you want to try turning on your camera? I'm assuming we can fit 6 people on the stage. And I think if you turn on your camera and mic, it should make you pop up. But if you're having trouble, Cecilia, why don't you chat Evan Murphy, and he can potentially help you out with some technical troubleshooting there. Okay, let's keep it moving here. So we would love to hear from you at a specific example of a project that you've worked on at work that relates to innovation or supports innovation in some way. So sometimes we hear a lot of talk about innovation, working in innovation. What is an example of something you've worked on that you feel supports innovation and makes use of what you studied in school? Go ahead, Gina.
Okay, so the first thing that comes to my mind is as soon as I finished my IME program, I came back to my country, to the company that I was working before, and I started as an innovation consulting manager there. And one of the projects that we worked with was developing and launching a new line of business, services related to innovation. So we could offer those services to our clients. Back then, I was in the consultancy industry, so it was very, like creative and another kind of services that we didn't have at the time, and the clients were very interested in. We also improve our customer experience using a lot of tools that we learn in the program, like the customer journey map. So that helped our team to improve the way we keep in touch with the client and how to make the experience more memorable. And right now, I work as a mentor in a mentorship program for social innovation entrepreneurs here in my country. It's a national program that it's starting this month, to help people from different regions with maybe less privilege than other people, to have their business idea to become a reality. So both of these projects and focus are into or lie into the innovation knowledge that I learned during the program.
Great. So you're actually advising other companies now on how to be innovative. Awesome.
Yeah.
Nick, go ahead. What's a project or something you've worked on?
Yeah, so just a kind of general scope of what I do at Clark is I basically manage the whole product life cycle. So anything from sourcing to brand development to building and testing the products to pricing and everything beyond that. Clark in general is super innovative the way we approach basically everything we do. We're one of the leading innovators when it comes to web and e-commerce. And we kind of revolutionize the way restaurants buy their equipment and supplies and things like that. But just on a day-to-day basis, an example that I kind of came up with, which might be insignificant to some, but is quite innovative, I think, in general, is improving products. So one of the products that I work with is crate makers. We supply and we have professional commercial grade crate makers, and I work directly with one of our customers through design thinking, and had a conversation with them, took it to their kitchen, tested it in their kitchen, got live feedback, worked with the factory to make those improvements, and then brought it back for reiteration and test it again with the customer. And so we pride ourselves on having that really great relationship with those customers to be able to do those types of things and kind of implement the design thinking, because we're super lean the way we do it. Product cycles can be anywhere from sometimes it's like 3 months from inception to where, us like having it go live on web versus 9 or 10 months. So that's one of the examples that I thought was super interesting. Just kind of in line with the idea of innovation is very much about understanding the pain point of a customer and really understanding your value proposition and understanding how, if need be, to pivot or make improvements or whatever it might be to, have the best product, whatever it may be, or service the customer wants. I think that's a pretty, let me know if you want me to expand on anything.
No, that's a great example. And it's a great example of how a career in innovation hopefully allows you to get out of the cubicle and get out of the office and out experiencing things and talking to customers, talking to suppliers. So that's a really great example, Nick. Desang, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is fun because I think this is a way to really show how practical the program is. So I actually did the program while I was still working on a part-time basis. And so a lot of what I was learning were things that I was able to apply back. So at that time, for example, I was working with a client where they were looking to introduce innovative new products to bring onto their platform and have that to offer to customers. So for example, at the time I was researching products such as Nest thermostat and smart devices and the smart cameras and smart door locks. And as part of that, one of the things that was really helpful to me was just understanding strategic partnerships, which is what I learned about in the program. And so being able to just apply, what do you look for in the market? What do you look for in terms of feasibility, kind of working through the entire product life cycle with product development, because obviously once the company decided to bring some of them on, they needed to work with the development teams and actually, do coding or APIs or whatever technical things they needed to do to make that happen. So that was one example. And then since then, I have a couple of other examples I want to touch on. So one is helping a company and a partner of theirs develop a digital credit card. So one of the things that was really innovative in this space is them prioritizing digital first and introducing a new type of customer experience. So when you think about the business model canvas and all the different components of that you can change to introduce innovation in a business and in a business model, things about who the customer was, what's the partnerships that you have, what are the different channels. These are all ways that we were able to support this client. So for example, some specific things they wanted to address were security concerns. So instead of your traditional credit card that has your signature on it and the card number, this card is digital, had no card numbers. It was all tokenized. So if you needed to purchase something, you would get a new card number. So that was definitely new and different. Another thing too is it was very instantaneous. So you can basically sign up for the credit card on your phone, and within minutes you can be approved and be able to use it. So instead of the usual process of applying for a credit card, maybe it takes a week to get here, this is something you can have in a matter of minutes. And then another thing too is just being able to help customers understand how they're spending. So, and this is all based off of the data that's you already using when you use the card, right? So where are you shopping, how much are you spending. The tool basically learn a lot of those behaviors and run data analytics and use machine learning to basically provide a summary to the customers. So that was really interesting. The project that I'm working on now is we're helping a client build and like intelligent agents. So basically building bots so that when folks call on the phone, instead of talking to a customer service rep, a lot of those calls will be fielded by bots. So it's really interesting because we're helping, we're basically any questions that a customer would call really, and this is in a healthcare industry, any question they would have about like doctors or like their some of their like medical information. We're training the bots right now to be able to answer those questions, or at least find out where to get that information to them. And we actually had a demo yesterday, and just like listening to the bots, like you can hear sometimes they mispronounce things. So we have to do some additional tuning just to help them like understand how to like say a or just things like that, and just break out words. So it's just really, really interesting. And this is definitely an innovative space, right? You're using like machine learning, voice and bots and intelligent automation. So in these examples, hopefully it kind of gives you a sense of how applicable the program is and all the different pieces that we've learned through the program and how it can be applied in real life.
Well, that's great. Those are really great examples. And they also illustrate how a career in innovation can allow you to be like on the cutting edge and know about technology and new inventions. Like a credit card that doesn't have a fixed number. That's really awesome to think about, and to be involved with those sorts of projects early on is a huge opportunity. Okay, cool. Thank you. So my next question is, you had a lot of choices about where to go to graduate school, whether to go back at all. A lot of people consider an MBA. There are other entrepreneurship programs out there. So what was your thought process in pursuing a degree? Did you know what you wanted out of your career? Talk to us about, why you decided to go back for this innovation management entrepreneurship master's and how you made that decision. Go ahead, Gina.
Okay, so yes, I decided to do a master's in innovation a few years ago, and I was doing my research year after year through different programs. Then we got this Fulbright scholarship here in my country, specific for masters in innovation. So I took that as a sign that that's my next step. I also want to do an MBA, but maybe in a couple of years. So I decided first maybe the master's degree in innovation and later the MBA. I consider a lot of different schools in the States. I did a very specific and detailed research with the pros and cons. And basically, what I liked about the IME program was the alignment with my personal and professional goals related to strategy, project management, and not specifically in the IT skills industry, because a lot of these innovation programs include like programming or coding or other things that are really interesting and on trend, but that wasn't my preference. So I found at Temple like a great mix of different items, like the classes, the faculty. I did some research, and all of them are well prepared, connected in the industry. They have industry experience in the real world, not only just like maybe researching or in the teaching area. So I thought that was the best choice for me, and luckily I got into the program.
That's cool. I remember you telling me about that research, and I was asking you about it. That's great. Nick, what about you?
So yeah, as I said, I spent a couple years in New York at a agency there, and I kind of thought about pursuing higher education and doing a master's or MBA. I tend to like to do things a little differently. I didn't want to do an MBA because I just felt like it was kind of a saturated market. Not that they're not valuable, but it just felt like everybody I knew was getting an MBA, and I wanted to do something that was a little more creative and I was doing some research. And when I stumbled upon Temple's master program, the course names and the course descriptions really spoke to me. They talked about creativity and innovation, and just talked about things that felt were applicable to basically any industry, and gave me the I could use what I learned at the master's if I wanted to go into, being like opening a restaurant, or to go into a corporate world, or be a consultant, or things like that. So a lot of that verbiage and kind of the talk about being creative and creative innovation kind of drew me in. And then, I also, took a look at a couple of the faculty members and looked at the opportunities surrounding the master's as being in a city like Philly. And of course, I know the master's is online, but Philly drew me in as a city. And I felt that, New York, I was in New York, it's a big, big city. And Philly felt like a place where I could really like get to know my professors, get to know the networks they have. And that was going to be, as important as the degree itself. And so I wanted to be in a place where I could kind of make those, connections, and it worked, and it panned out, right? Because I'm here and I'm talking today. So clearly, Temple has a great kind of alumni network, and they want you to be involved and engaged with things. And I think that's what I was really looking for, and kind of drove me to do the MS program.
Yeah, that's great, Nick. And when you mentioned the teachings can be applicable to any industry, and just thinking about our alumni, we have alumni in sports, art, food, science, so I think you're right. What we teach is supposed to be applicable to any industry or any field you want to go into. Great. Desang, what about you?
Yeah, so as I kind of touched on earlier, for me, it was a very, very personal journey. I think part of it was me realizing early on that I had these, what seemed like two different sides of me. And at some point I made a decision that I didn't want to pick, because of course I thought about an MBA, but it really just felt like it would be a check the box exercise. And I wanted something that was very meaningful, that I thought, had value. Part of it too was I love scanning the horizon and trends, and, just doing like random research, even if it's for myself, to see what's out there and what's coming. And I decided early on that it seemed like, innovation and creativity would continue to have a space in the future. As much as the bots are coming, there are certain things that can't be replicated. So like certain problem solving and some like critical thinking type things. And I think, just being able to find this program, when I read the description, I pretty much knew it was it. I sent the description to my mom, and she was like, "This sounds just like you." So it felt right. And that was important to me, versus just trying to fit into a program. I wanted a program that, fit me. And I think just finding it was extremely, I felt very fortunate. And the mix of the program really aligned with my interests as well. So strategic management, technology, once I got into the technology consulting space, innovation, creativity, like all these different things that I enjoyed learning about were there. And so that was really, really great for me. And, I think that's one of the great things about the program too, is, as you mentioned, people are coming from all different walks of life, right? And all different disciplines, and we're all coming together. So classmates, like Cecilia was a classmate of mine too. Like we're all coming together from different walks. And the flexibility of it too was important, because when I first started, I was traveling. And so I was able to attend some classes online during the week, and then on the weekends. And then after that, I was local. So that helped to, get to class. So I think that overall combination was extremely helpful, is how it's organized. Obviously, professors who I still keep in touch with, and, having that community and having people I can bounce ideas off of. And Jared, I'm going to be watching Jared on Friday. He's a classmate of mine. So I think it's just that overall community, which continues to give, I think. And my advice for everyone is, when you're making this decision, like, be true to yourself, right? Because it's a huge investment, and you don't want to do something just because you think other people are doing it. And I think this is a great way that you can continue to set yourself apart, especially in the age that we live in, with digital and so many changes and things being extremely complex. Even if you look at the past year, all the different changes we've had to make, I think having this foundation and understanding how to come up with new products or reinvent and do things differently, the program gives a lot of that structure.
Great, thank you so much. And I'm really glad you all feel this way, truly, because I love teaching in the program, being a part of it because of the huge diversity in our students and our alumni, and just being able to learn from the students as well is amazing. And we really do want people to be members for life. So we have a lot of co-curricular programs like business plan competitions. We have speaker series. All of those are open to alumni. So if you decide to start a business in 20 years, you can come back and use our accelerator and, you know, enter our competitions and all that. So Temple really does embrace people for life. All right, great. My last question before we go to some questions from the audience are, anything else you want to say? First of all, we can open it up. And then what are 1 or 2 highlights that you would say of the program that you use every day in your work, or something you consider a highlight? So kind of an open last comment, maybe touching on some highlights from the program.
Okay, so I would say the first one is that everyone is welcome to the program, all backgrounds, all nationalities, and it's great because you can learn from the diversity of the program and all the experience from your classmates, as well as, of course, the faculty. That's my second highlight, that the faculty is very approachable. You can discuss with them any questions you have, any ideas during the class and outside the class. And even after you finish the program, they are always, willing to connect with you and help you if you have questions or new ideas. So that's great, because you can see in other programs, maybe the faculty is maybe up there and you cannot reach them or contact them. So that's a very good highlight from this IME program.
Great. Nick, go ahead.
So, I have a ton of highlights, but a couple, like I'll highlight some courses that kind of really stuck in my mind. It was like business model innovation with Michelle. That was really great. It helped me see things differently from how, you can have one product, but there's so many different ways that you can set that product up for success around the business model. And it was just really fun and creative space. And she was an amazing kind of like mentor during that time there, and gave me a lot of insights. And another class was Lean Entrepreneurship with Alan Kersner. It's fun to do and create. And I think a large part of why I love the program is that a lot of the courses, you got to actually like start a project from beginning to end and do all the research and develop the insights, develop the product, interview potential customers, and really kind of see the life cycle of it and kind of understand what it means to innovate and apply a lot of the tools and principles. But the other kind of a couple highlights were, being at Temple, I got to participate in the idea competition. I placed 3rd in the idea competition, Temple's idea competition, which was awesome. And Michelle and had a lot to do with that. And I developed a lot of the idea in her class. So, that's a great highlight. And then also getting to meet Ellen Weber, working at Mid-Atlantic Diamond Ventures, and subsequently getting to know a whole bunch of people at Robinhood Ventures, which is one of the biggest angel investing groups that have a huge ties to Temple and MADV. So a lot of like kind of going back to what I was saying before, that being able to connect with people, like as Gina said, they're very approachable. And I would just be able to kind of build just a personal relationship with a lot of my professors I had. And I can still keep in contact. I still keep in contact with Carrie. And it's just like one of those, it's a great resource whenever you are running into something or you need help with something. So those are my couple highlights.
Great, thanks, Nick.
So to add to that, I think the practical aspect is huge. So one being some of the projects that we did as teams. I think that's very applicable to real life, right? And so we have that element in there. I think also the composition of the program as well is a great example also. So for example, thinking about my engineering management side of the house with classes, or even on the more like the management and business model innovation, definitely one of my top classes as well, Nick. I think in real life, that's what we're seeing, right? Like teams are coming together where you have all different functions working together. So I see myself as being and straddling kind of the business side of the house and the engineering side of the house. I'm not technical to the point that I'm coding, but I'm able to understand the work that the engineers are doing and to speak to that on programs. And I think that's something that's really, really valuable for the program, is that you learn all these different pieces, and it's not necessarily about depth in all of them, right? You don't necessarily need to be an expert in all of them, but the way the world is moving, you need to kind of understand these spaces, because I find myself kind of moving through a lot of these different areas a lot. And so having this program that kind of shows you a little bit of what you need to know across the board, I think is a huge highlight. Creative problem solving also is one of my classes that I really enjoy, because people think of creativity and even innovation as this, you're just sitting there and this idea comes to you, and that's not really how it is. There is a process to it, and just understanding that and vetting ideas and knowing that, there's value in the number you start with and kind of working your way down the funnel. That's been something that is also very applicable in real life, when certain people who either haven't had the training or just don't understand how it works, like they may not realize that there is a process to it. So being able to just articulate that, or even show and use that with different teams, has been helpful too.
All right, awesome. Thank you all so much. So right now, are there any questions from the audience? I don't see any questions in the Q&A, but if you have a question, you can probably put your hand up, I'm assuming, or do something, and or chat it to us. So I'll give anyone a second to chat a question in either the chat or the QA, or put your hand up. And if there are no specific questions, then we'll split up. We'll go into our separate tables, so you can have a chance to network with each of the speakers and ask them your personal question. Okay, so it's not seeming like anyone wants to do their question publicly, so that's totally fine. They may have specific questions. So Evan, I think you can take us back into presentation mode. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I love to stick around and talk with you. Again, we have Mile if you're interested in the program, and we love to see you at future events as well. So thanks everyone for joining us, and thanks to our panelists. We'll see you at the table.
Thank you.
Thank you.